Now post-game show. I'm Schuyler Callihan, and tonight filling in for Eugene Napoleon is Christopher Hall. West Virginia winners over TCU 24-21. They moved to 4-1 overall and 2-0 into conference Big 12 conference players. They roll into the bye week, and it couldn't come at a better time, obviously, with all the injuries. We're going to get into that all here in just a second along with our analysis, but let's dive into some of the numbers real quick. TCU's Chandler Morris, 23 of 41, 298 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Big 12 leading rusher entering today, Amani Bailey, held to just 55 yards, 2.9 yards a carry. And then for West Virginia, Garrett Greene, again, this has been the theme for West Virginia. They haven't had to do a whole lot through the air, and that was the case again here tonight. 10 of 21, 142 yards, but he did add 80 yards and 2 scores on the ground, part of a 201-yard rushing effort from West Virginia. So, Chris, this was a kind of an odd start to the game. It felt like TCU was going to really kind of be in rhythm all day offensively. There was a lot of missed tackles from West Virginia. They were not communicating well. They really weren't getting pressure on the quarterback. All that stopped at halftime. Jordan Leslie, hat tip to you. He did a great job of making some adjustments at the half, because that third quarter was phenomenal. West Virginia outgained TCU 129-1. That was the difference in this game for me.
Yeah, shutting them out in the second half as well, keeping them off the board the entire second half. The 2 blocked field goals in the game. Got to give a shout out to the special teams. I mean,
Jeff Coons, he's got to be a happy man.
I don't know the stats off the top of my head, but I'm guessing it's been a long time since West Virginia blocked 2 field goals in a game, especially in a win.
Yeah.
So that was a total effort. I really like the drive, like to see them finish off that drive when they did have a success in the passing game. There they went all the way down the 5. Hudson Clement was obviously called short of the end zone. Love to see them finish it off, but that's a great step, obviously in the right direction, being able to move the ball strictly through the air, and kind of did it with ease. Guys were open. The passes were on point. So gotta love that. I mean, the fact, it's just more than beating TCU. They've won ugly the last 2 games. Didn't see a lot from the passing game, but actually saw some life in the passing game. So about to hit the halfway mark here in a week and a half. That's really good going into a bye week, going down to Houston, which they've been just lighting up the scoreboard everywhere they go.
And I think it's a good point to note, and I think I mentioned this either the other day when I recorded with you or with Eugene, that Garrett has not played a whole lot of football this season. Like, he played against one of the best defenses in the country in Penn State. He played a half a game against Duquesne and then 5 snaps against Pitt. So he's been out the last, a week and a half to 2 weeks, and he's going to come back in. He's not going to be 100% right away. So I don't really put too much stock into what he did. I thought for the most part, he made a lot of decent decisions, or he made a lot of good decisions, a lot of good throws. Again, for me, it's still the receivers. We saw obviously before the game that Cortez Braham and Jeremiah Aaron are no longer part of the team, but somebody in that room has got to step up. Those guys weren't playing much or making plays if they were on the field. More so, Braham was more on the field than Aaron, but you've got to get somebody to step up and be that guy, whether it's Devin Carter, Hudson Clement, somebody. I mean,
or
Ronnie Gallagher.
EJ
Horton made a terrific catch.
Terrific catch, and that's what you're asking for.
They've been 3 big catches on that drive.
They've been dropping bunnies, and he takes a hit and holds on to the ball. So that's exactly what you need in these type of games. That's exactly what they've been missing the last few years. Is just somebody make a play. You're going to get hit. You're going to get tied up, and you make a play over the middle and just keep the momentum going. Again, love to see them finish off that drive, but still had them pinned down and still held the field position with that great defensive play the second half. And also with that defense, four guys go out on one drive, 4 starters, and they still
You're not kidding.
Stop them. And then you need another stop on the final drive with all the injuries that you just had, and you're able to keep it together and hold them to a 55-yard field goal that gets blocked. So it's incredible, really.
I mean, if you think about it, how hard it is to mentally get back into playing a game after your guy just goes out and carted off the field. I mean, you're talking about hours of time spent on the field in the meeting rooms and even classes and off the field with some of these guys that they hang out with on the team. And you see your brother go down, he's carted off, and it's a serious injury. And that's an emotional thing. You could see the emotion in Neil Brown's face. You could see it on the player's face. When Aubrey Burks went down in the first half, you saw it again with Trey Lathan there in the second half. But the thing for me was how the defense bounced back both of those occasions. They came out, got a 3-and-out on TCU. They backed them up real deep. They got great field position and ended up, yeah, it was at the drive that they ended up getting the touchdown on, or is they, or no, they came down, and I think that's the driver they went for it on 4th and 1, didn't get it. But either way, they got a good field position. I can't remember at the top of my head, but and then this obviously at the end of the game, like you just mentioned, Lathan goes down. It's a serious injury. They're panicking, screaming for more help on the field, and they come right back out and get a stop. So hats off to the defense. Hopefully, Trey Lathan, Aubrey Burks, they're doing well, and hopefully they're going to be back on the field sooner than later. But those look pretty serious injuries, and really the bye could not come at a better time for West Virginia. I mean, not only those two guys, but you had some guys on the offensive line go down, and some other guys that had some nicked up. They got nicked up in this game. Hershey McLaurin, Sean Martin was a little banged up. So this is a perfect time for the bye week. Not only get some guys healthy, but to really maybe even find some long-term answers if some of those guys are out for an extended period of time.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to get some guys healthy. I know you kind of mentioned Garrett Greene. I mean, he gets that big run early in the first quarter. The kid
He
who
lived.
thought who thought that he would be that healthy this quickly after suffering an ankle injury. So good to see him back out there running around. Yeah, he was limping at the end of the game, but came in, looked fine, looked like he may have tweaked it. But yeah, it's good. It's going to be good for him to get some rest as well. But overall, I mean, what a surprise! I know we both in our predictions had
Yeah.
this as a loss, and I know I said to you privately, I was like, man, I just think West Virginia may get, there's a good chance they may just get
Yeah.
blown out down there because that
And the way it
offense with that
started, it kind of looked like it.
it just had that feel where it was
Yeah.
teetering and teetering, and they just hung around there in the first half, just kept playing, kept grinding, and really that's their motto: just next play, just make adjustments next play. And man, they were just tearing them up in that short passing game. And then second half, those adjustments, they were all over the receivers. Good to see them lined up on the receivers. Good to see them communicating there when they had trips left, trips right, trying to shake them up, do little rub routes, and man, they stuck with them. And I know they're kind of at the end. They were picking up chunk plays, but I mean, TCU is pretty good offense. Sonny
They
Dykes
are.
is a really good offensive coordinator, so he made adjustments as well. But when they needed stops there, once they got in WVU territory, man, they got them. Couldn't ask really much more from the defense at all in the second half.
I mean, this is a great spot for West Virginia and really for Neil Brown. All this talk in the offseason about, the pressures on him, and fairly enough. I mean, he had 3 losing seasons in 4 years, and he even admitted that they needed to start winning more games. They're 4-1 through 5 games. If you would have told me that 2 months ago, I would have said there's no way. There's absolutely no way this team will be 4-1. And here we are, their only loss to Penn State. So I don't know, Chris. I mean, I don't want to say that he's completely off the hot seat yet. I think you can all, again, Ren Baker has said he's not going to put a win total out there, and you could feel bad about an 8-win season, or you could feel great about a 6-win season. But for me right now, the way that this team is being able to win football games with guys being hurt, they really don't have a passing game right now, that they kind of are struggling with receivers and the depth at that position. To be 4-1, I mean, we have criticized Neil hard these first 4 years. He has done a phenomenal job, I think, in these first 5 games of just finding a way, finding a blueprint to win games.
Yeah, definitely. You want to acknowledge its success 4-1. I don't think anyone. I think the most optimistic fan didn't have West Virginia 4-1 at this point in time. But like just said briefly a minute ago, we're not even at the halfway point yet. So there's still a lot of
A
work.
lot
You
of
just
football to
mentioned
go.
a lot of injuries they have to deal with. If you lose AB in that secondary for the season, obviously that's a huge loss. He's a leader of that secondary. You already were thin in that secondary after losing 2 of the transfers to season-ending injuries. So Marcus Ford came in. He's very capable of playing back there, but who can come in behind him and give him rest? That's really what the question is going to be moving forward. So they're really going to have to they're going to have to see what's going on injury wise. And again, you're going up against a lot of great coaches in the Big 12. They're going to see West Virginia's strengths. I mean, granted, they've known West Virginia's going to run the ball, but again, we saw a little peak of that passing game. Getting that on film is huge. That may lighten up some boxes. They're still going to make West Virginia try to make Garrett Greene with the arm, and that's going to be the big test for West Virginia moving forward. So Houston's not no slouch. They're going to score a lot of points. That's going to be a huge test for the defense. So hey, they can congratulate themselves right now, but I don't think it's time to start patting everybody on the back because there's still a lot of work to
Yeah.
do, especially for my prediction of 8-4. You still got 4 games to win, and there's not a. People may think it's all easy, and I definitely said that this schedule is not as hard as it looked going into this season, but it didn't make the games, make the wins that much easier. So still a lot
Last
of football left.
Lastly, before we get out of here, quick thoughts is do you believe West Virginia is a contender in the Big 12? I mean, let's face it, Texas, Oklahoma, they're legit, Kansas State legit, but you just beat one of the top 3 or 4 teams everyone had going into the Big 12 this year. You're on the road, and now you're 4-1. You're going to be favored more than likely in your next 2 games. I mean, there's some favorable games down the stretch. It may not be the most sexy team, but they could be in the picture down the stretch when we get to November.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see once we get to Oklahoma. That might be the game that keeps them out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because as Texas is playing well, Oklahoma's playing well. Oklahoma or Texas may only have one loss at that point, so you're going to have to do something, uh, like beat Oklahoma to be the contender. So the top of the league's pretty high this year. I mean, you might have been able to sneak it in the past with 2 losses, but I doubt this year. So I don't think anyone should be starting talking about West Virginia as a contender right now. Yes, they're finding ways to win, but you got to keep winning. Maybe step on someone's throat uh, here in the next couple of weeks. Maybe get a dominant win against his team that's struggling, or a dominant win of obviously a struggling Oklahoma State win, and then maybe we can start talking Big 12 conference contention.
So that'll do it for us here tonight on the Mountaineers Now postgame show. Again, West Virginia finds a way once again, 2 blocked field goals in this game to take down TCU, 4-1 on the season, 2-0 in Big 12 conference play. And so that'll do it for us here tonight. That's Christopher Hall. I'm Schuyler. You've been watching the Mountaineers Now postgame show presented by Country Roads Air Duct Cleaning. Take me home to comfort. Be sure to hit subscribe on YouTube at Mountaineers Now. Give a like as well. So I'll be back with you guys here tomorrow morning for the morning after, and we'll see you guys then. Take care. Do you have dirty air ducts? Is your dryer vent plugged up? Well, odds are you probably don't know the answer to that question. Fortunately for you, we know a guy. Give Justin at Country Roads Air Duct Cleaning a call at 304-639-3395 for your free home evaluation. That's 304-639-3395. Country Roads Air Duct Cleaning. Take me home to comfort.